Welcome back to class in the BMC Boat Shop, the high school maritime program students. We're starting to put these chines on your boat. And remember, these chines go on the bottom corner of the boat. And your canoe is upside down right now, so it's clamped in place, approximately in place, to the bottom of your boat. This is one of the trickier things that we do in building your boat. We have a square end on the front of this chine right now. This is your actual chine, clamped approximately into place. This is a piece of your chine, just a mock-up of your chine, and we'll fuss with the angles to get the angles to fit real good. And you can see this is a square end here, 90 degrees here, and it's 90 degrees here. But this is a compound angle in your boat. It's not 90 degrees across, and it's not 90 degrees up and down. It's about 87 degrees here, and it's more like 48 degrees here. So we have to cut that compound angle. To get those angles, we shall use a bevel gauge. And a bevel gauge looks like this. This is a bevel gauge. It folds up. It's not sharp. That's a little bit pointy, but it's not sharp at all. It's not meant to cut anything. It's meant to copy angles. That's it. We can copy and replicate an angle pretty precisely. Get it set where we want it. Tighten this up. That's your angle. If you don't bump it or change it, that's your angle. It doesn't give you the amount of the angle. We don't know if that's 80 degrees or 79 degrees or 83 degrees. We don't know. But we do know that's the right angle, and we can copy it again and again. It's repeatable. So we need to get these angles. And how we'll do this is we'll get this bevel gauge set. We'll make sure this edge is sticking out past the top a little bit. We'll make it a little too wide. We'll push it into place till it stops. I didn't really like how that worked. I'm going to use this one. Same thing. Different bevel gauge. Tighten this up. Make sure that's sticking up past the end. And you can see that little bit of a gap there. Let me demonstrate. There's less than flush. There's sticking up. And that's what we want. Sticking up. Put this in here like this again. Make it a little too much of an angle. And push it in until it's parallel with the stem of your boat. Something like that. That's the angle. Now we can take a pencil, put it on the side of the boat, put it on anything, and draw that angle. That's the angle we want on the end of this piece. Now remember, I said it's a compound angle. So this is the angle of this. But we need the angle going across too. A little bit trickier because it's so narrow in here. We'll have to, again, we'll have this sticking up. We just have a little bit sticking out so we don't hit the other side of the boat. We get that flush with the boat. Flush with that top edge. Roll it up there. Till we get that angle. I might go on this side. It might be easier for me. There we go. I'm holding this down flush on the edge of your hull. I'm pushing that in until it's tight. Tighten this up so it doesn't move. All right, and I carry it over here, and I'm going to copy it on the side of the boat again. So we have a copy of this. That's the other angle. So here's one angle, and there's the other angle. Two angles, compound angle. It's lucky here at the Bayfront Maritime Center, we have a compound saw. a compound miter saw to do this. So I've taken this, I've copied these angles with this bevel gauge, these two angles, and I copied them both. One was about 47 degrees, and you can see that right down here. There's 45. There's 45, and we're a little past that. I don't really need to know the number, but that's it. That's the angle. I'm guessing it's 47 degrees. This other angle, the smaller angle, was about 3 degrees off of 90. So look, I've got this set at 3 degrees. 0 would be 90 degrees, just completely square, but that's 87 degrees, 87.5 degrees. We'll take our piece, put it in here. Clamp it down like that. Cord's out of the way. It's flat on the table. Got my glasses on. Compound miter saw. Here we go. Compound angle. So it's obviously not square that way. And it's not square this way either. It's tipped a little like that. It's tipped off a square of just a few degrees. We want this to fit as best we can. So I'm going to take this, your chine, the real chine, out of here and set it off to the side, and we'll see about how this fits, how we did. Some spring clamps, these A clamps out of the way. Set your chine down. I'll put it on this roller table. So why are we doing a mock-up piece like this? Because it may take 3 or 4 fits to get a good joint up here. And our piece, remember we scarfed that together to be long enough to make the chine log. And if we had to cut it 3 or 4 times on one end and 3 or 4 times on the other end, and it didn't fit that good, it might end up too short and we'd have to scarf another piece on, and we don't really want to do that. There's one other part of this. When this chine log goes on your boat, it has to be sticking up 1/4 of an inch. The students that did that last year remember. When this goes in, it doesn't just go flush with the edge of your boat, it's sticking up. And remember, this is upside down, so really it's sticking down. It's sticking up out of your boat about 1/4 of an inch. We have to lay out that 1/4 of an inch too. We'll do that next. To do that, we'll use a combination square, second major tool we're going to use today, and a tape measure. So we'll set this up, make a mark at 1/4 of an inch. I'll go from this 1 out to 1/4, and I'll make a mark. And you see how I made that mark? We're going to go from just the point of that mark. I'll do it again. This is sort of important. I could make just a line out here, but this is at 1/4, but this isn't anymore. So this is why you make a point. You get the 1 right on the edge. You put this right on 1/4. Pull it away. Pull it away again. And we're going from that point. Nowhere else, just on that point. We'll take our combination square, and a combination square slides, and you can set it. You can set it for depth, or you can measure with it, but we'll set it in this case on that 1/4 inch mark. Set it like that. We'll tighten it up, just like that. And so what we can do now with this square is I'll clamp this down so it doesn't skate around. Take this combination square, and we can draw that 1/4 inch line accurately. It went right across the center of our mark. we can make this line accurate all the way down this piece. Easy to do, quick to do, accurate. 1/4 inch line. So let's see if we put it on the correct edge. This has to go in the boat like this. Yeah, we did. Good. We'll see how we did with our the angle too. Put that there. Clamp this in. Clamp this in a few spots. 1/4 inch. How do we do? Pretty good. Now I think there's some glue in that joint between the stem and the side of the boat that's holding it out, but it's holding it out just perfectly flush, which makes me think there's a little bit of glue sticking out, holding that away, because the joint looks real nice. Tap that up a little. We can use that. We can use that as the angle on the bow. And we should mark this too. We should mark this. The bow. It only is going to go in one way, so I don't have to say top or bottom. That's the bow of your chine. So, that's how we're going to cut that joint for the front of your chine. Remember, this segment, this module of this lesson, there'll be 3 modules. So this is the first. It's measuring that joint, the angles of that joint, the compound angles, and what they are, and get them cut to fit. We're going to have to do this again for the back end of this chine. At that point, the chine's still going to be way too long. But that's all right. There's a tricky way. We'll use some algebra. We'll get the length. It's actually fun algebra, what we'll do, and we'll put that together in Module 2 of this lesson. Thanks.